The woman forgot to fasten her seatbelt on her first flight but survived the air crash as a result. That day, the girl fell asleep leaning on her boyfriend's shoulder when a fighter jet crashed into a plane. After the plane was hit by a fighter jet and shattered into pieces, she watched her husband disappear while she fell into the jungle with half of the fuselage. At the moment of falling, she fastened her seatbelt and prayed in her heart to survive. When she woke up, she found that her calf was pierced by a steel plate. In order to survive, she gritted her teeth and pulled out the steel plate with her bare hands, then hastily wrapped it with a skirt cloth strip. She shouted among the wreckage, only seeing the woman in the back seat unconscious and herself faint from weakness. After being bitten awake by mosquitoes, she heard the roar of a helicopter and hurriedly pulled on a scarf to call for help, but was not noticed. When returning to the cabin, I unexpectedly caught a tiger gnawing on a corpse. She held her breath and stepped back, breaking a branch and alarming the tiger. Just on the brink of life and death, the helicopter flew by again, and the tiger was scared away. She narrowly escaped. At this moment, the girl saw a toy bear and remembered the wilderness survival skills taught by her husband, using the pin hanging on the toy bear to rub and magnetize, and placing it on a leaf to identify the direction. She went to the river to replenish water, packed a bag of water in a plastic bag she picked up, changed into dry clothes from the cabin, knocked off the heels of her shoes, tied her fractured foot, and walked towards the unknown depths of the jungle leaning on a branch. On the way, she stepped into the swamp and grabbed a branch before climbing out. When climbing the hillside, she slipped and rolled back to her original place. At the moment of despair, her concern for her husband made her stand up again. When she climbed to the top again, the tiger chased after her again, and she hurriedly fell into a deep pit to avoid danger. In the evening, she found a suitcase with food and a lighter inside. When the bonfire is lit for warmth, the girl's dreams are filled with sweet memories of her husband. The next day, she saw the front half of the machine head at the mountaintop where her husband was located. She couldn't swim, but she bravely waded across the river, but couldn't find her husband and only found a signal gun. Just as she was about to launch, she decided to go to a higher place for help. The sudden drop in temperature almost froze her from the dampness, and her lighter also malfunctioned due to water ingress. In despair, she saw her husband's backpack hanging from the treetop, and the picture book inside awakened her courage. In the rainstorm, she found her husband's body in the mud pit. She trembled as she put on the ring for her husband and fell asleep in his arms. The sound of the helicopter woke her up, and she tearfully bid farewell to her husband. She climbed out of the mud pit and fired the last signal flare. The rescue personnel finally found her. When the helicopter took off, she waved her hand to the jungle, where her 20-year-old lover was forever left. This honeymoon trip turned into a disaster, and in the end, only she survived the 38-person flight. Reality is often more cruel than movies, and the courage to live may be the final gift left by the deceased.